Almost. Okay. Okay. Welcome everybody. Everybody on YouTube, everybody on your phones and anywhere else to our second stop in the far, far away but closer than ever virtual tour by Nervous Ghost Press. My name is Matthew Mejia, the publisher here. On behalf of Michael and Chad, who are away but not away, you're stuck with me. This week we have, or today, not this week, we have a great list of a great set of readers, different than from last week. So remember, every event will have new people, we'll have the same people, we'll have guest speakers and other community members come in. So make sure you tune in to see everybody. You'll always get something fresh and something exciting. If you're out there and you would like to perform, you would like to join us and jump into this crazy world, email us at ghosts@nervousghostpress.com. I'm going to show you our social media things here. Feel free, connect with us, follow us, join us, send us anything, thoughts and questions. We're always open to it. A little bit about us, as always, we always advocate for our communities, immediate and extended. Family and friends of friends and friends of family and their friends and their family. Always. We'll have a short Q&A afterwards where you can ask us questions. You could ask the readers what they think about the virtual environment, literature and politics, art and the world, and why we feel a need to always kind of put ourselves in your life and in front of you and to tell you what we think. We always have to run our faces and our mouths. If you are on Twitter, you can hashtag Nervous Ghost July 10. That's Nervous Ghost July 10. If you would like to learn more about the press and Michael, we have a podcast up from Chills at Will podcast available on Apple Podcasts, and you could also ask Alexa. So now I would like to take a few seconds to introduce our MC today. It is your lovable favorite, likable individual, me. And our first, where am I at? I got a lot of buttons in front of my face. Our first speaker today comes from San Jose, California. She has spent her time working on narratives and poetic works where she could see herself and her experience represented. She is also working on building her art collective created for and by women of color, Kimani Rose Creations. She describes her poetry as partly something for people to see themselves in, so they can affirm the feeling that they aren't alone in their emotions and experiences, and partly a vehicle for the transformative growth we all seek. And us here at Nervous Ghost Press, we 100% agree. And so take it away, Kimani Rose. Oh, you're not unmuted yet. Wait. Nope. Hold on. I'll get you right now. There you go.
Oh, you can hear me? Okay, cool. Hi, y'all. I'm gonna read 4 poems for y'all. This first one is in our book. It's in Writing for Life, so it's super exciting. I have 3 poems in there, but I'm only gonna be reading one, so you can see the other ones when you get the book. Okay, so a word which here means chaos, the spinning of worlds, or black holes vacuuming each other into celestial Dyson bags. The sun bleeds light blindness. Watch them crash into each other and break into abyss. A word which here means nothing. Means emptiness, invisible reflection, find me vampiring in the bedroom window, mirrors. Means that's what's inside me now because you found me when you were fishing. Gutted me and rubbed me in wild time to cook over campfire. I was your legendary catch. I'm a side character in my own story, an extra in a biopic about my life. A word which here means quilted. Made from something soft like feathers. or the stuffing from a freshly ripped dog bed, because my memory says that we agreed on hating them, or I just hated them and you were allergic, or I just hated them and you just wanted me to be happy. A word which here means survival, means that no matter what, I loved you, and loving me back was something I forgot to ask for. I forgot to ask to write about you too. I know you don't mind, but I wanted to ask you anyway. If anything and absolutely nothing else, you know that I am tender when handling you. I'm gentle, a word which here means everything. There's the first one. This one is not part of any project. It's just a poem that I liked and kind of fit the flow of the other poems that I was reading for the day. So here goes. I have taken a deep breath in the hopes that it will save me. I will return to my body and it will be mine. No longer gripped between your fingers, no longer bruised at contact sight, no longer. Staying alive while buried under your barricade was my greatest challenge, a punishment most cruel. The same material as cloud, as rainstorm, as my skin, reach. Try and wrap yourself around me to feel. Make tangible of my phantom skin. Watch as I glide through palms to fog you. Beloved, it is a mistake to attempt to hold me, to bind me to flesh form, treason. And then these next two are from my thesis that I just finished in May. So they are a part of this larger project that deals with the relationships between celestial creators. So this first one is Honor Thy Lord, or Honor Thy Land, excuse me. Fragile bodies made of clay hold these earth heads close. Plant kisses on the roots of living things and extend every thank you to that tree. Only hang from them lanterns, lights, tire swings, hammocks. Paint every color imaginable. Take this confirmation that you are just as here, warmed by Kahlua and fed by a Mamiwata sea. My gift to you, my mirrored earth place. Pause. Okay. And then my last one is also part of my thesis, and it is called Thou Shalt Love Thy Bodies. You feel that heartbeat? That boom, drum, that footstep padding its way toward you. Another you body breathing, singing. Teach her how to dance. Teach her to love each rip and tear. Teach her that her body belongs to her, even when coveted, even when stolen, even when tied and lit ablaze, even when the dust will settle and call her a woman. The man will vibrate and call her a love, make her, mothering out of her just to dangle in front of their children, bait them, allow them taste of what he gorges, of whom. Thank you. That's really exciting. And I'm really excited and happy about this work. I'm excited to see everybody's reading.
Awesome. Thank you very much. It's fantastic work. Great job. Love it. And remember to remind everybody that is Kimani Rose Creations. And before I introduce the next reader, I wanted to remind you that today's event is hosted by Half Off Books, a bookstore in Fullerton, California, where we all are now. Just like on Tuesday, we were all in Monrovia, California. Today, we travel all the way to the nice town of Fullerton, California. Unfortunately, Jason, the events manager there, is unable to work with us and to join, not work with us, but to join us. He is also a healthcare provider, so he's working very hard, and let's send him good vibes and our best wishes and hope he stays safe and healthy along with everybody else. Our next reader comes from Las Vegas, land of Las Vegas. Where am I here? She taught in public schools in the border of Mexico and Brownsville, Texas, has been published in many, many magazines. And her second chapbook, One Barefoot, is published by Zeitgeist Press. So it is my pleasure to introduce everyone to Charlene Muscal. And I gotta unmute you somehow. Hold on, Charlene. Did you use your phone like last time? Oh, use your phone, remember? Wait. We're learning.
Hey, am I here?
Yes, there we go. Perfect.
Okay, terrific. Thank you. This is from Right for Life. Woman who dyes her hair, personal ad. I am a woman who dyes her hair. At home, I wear clothes that fall away from vanity, search for sounds of life under months of quiet, accumulated like dead mice under floorboards. I'm looking for a little fun, want to travel familiar mountains, hear old songs, eat in restaurants not visited by ghosts. Wish to lose things that constrict my throat. I embrace the spirit of laughter, am willing to step outside the walls, recognize that I cannot replace the touch of his hands or his lips, now dust in a jar. I have placed this ad as confirmation. Life will go forward as long as I remain a woman who dyes her hair. I selected two other poems that deal with the vicissitudes of age or aging, and two that deal with, I guess, legacy would be the best way to say. So this one is like a child. Like a child who tries to catch snow on the tongue, I try to snare them before they dissolve into the fog of my years. Like a child who chases lightning bugs that scatter in the dusk in twilights of other places, I run after words that vanish before I can put the lid on the jar. Like a child who echoes a schoolyard taunt, the words meaningless and sharp as long-lost anger, I reach for a smart retort, and blisters burst from my eyes. Like a child who is lost in a nightmare that rocks the edge of belief, turns reality liquid. I want to wake in the comfort of words chosen as carefully as firewood in winter. And following, following that same theme, it's called Fly Away. Some days, my words are written in invisible ink on scraps of silk that lift in a gust of wind. A whirlwind of words swirls above my head. I want to gather them, but my arms won't raise and my hands grow limp, fingers cannot extend. I watch as they fly away, wonder if they will touch down in someone's backyard. My words that no one can read scatter and fall in heaps of letters that are collected, bound, bundled, and thrown into a fire, fragrant with autumn leaves. And my ink forms words like God showing Moses the 10 Commandments, or my voice resonates out of the burning bush, bearing my inside secrets for the neighbors to hear. My two legacy poems. This one is called I Have Always Chosen Red, and I believe it was published in the summer anthology of Otherworldly Women, the summer 2020 anthology. I have always chosen red. It is the blood that runs through our generations, carries a legacy into battle with the word survive, emblazoned in our DNA. It is our strength before the scythes and torches, before the rapes and knives, before the drunken spit and the calloused hands that beat and bruise. It is the magenta under the skin, the deep red of fresh wounds, the rust red of healing scabs. It is the story songs of nomad women in their red tents, steeped in the blood of desert births and cycles of the moon. It is the wail and dive bars of an alto sax that sings tales of betrayal and love, played as blue as blood without air. It is the essential red, tasked to continue to grab life, as a vampire would suckle at a virgin's neck and heal them both. My reds flow warm with the scent and taste of iron to make a merger with the exquisite crimsons of life. And the last one is called Sweetie. And it was published in, let's see if I can show you this, in Clark. Well, maybe I can get that. Anyhow, Clark was published, I think it was last year, 2019. It's poetry from Clark County, Nevada, and it is all Clark County poets. I think I'm going to go stop for a splash of water, one and all. This is what a poet looks like drinking water. Much better. Okay. Sweetie, the universal truth universally is we all grow old, or are supposed to. It isn't always pleasant. In fact, I think it never is. And those who say it is are lying through the very few teeth they have left, yellowed like fine ivory, scaffolded in metal. We creak getting out of a chair, a bed. We sit and stand accompanied by grunts and small nonverbal protestations. We fart indiscriminately and turn around to see who done it. But sweetie, the one thing we never feel we lose is our relevancy. And though our eyes are diminished, we can see clearly into yours. We see, sweetie, the condescending smile hiding. Does she have any idea what we're talking about? We feel, though our fingers are often numb to turning pages, the turn back, the desire to not be touched, as if age were dust from a dead man that might rub off on you. Well, sweetie, just hope it does, because let's face it, I am you. And someday, if you're lucky, you will be put on a pedestal in someone's memories. They will see you not in vibrant colors, but with the hues of age. They will remember the unsteady gait, the skin shaking loose from bone, the neck once long and lovely, or sinewed and strong, now shrouded in flesh folds, lashes lost and lips thin, appearing to criticize the world you inhabit. And then, sweetie, if you are really lucky, they will put all that aside and speak of who you were. They will remember to regard you as the progenitor of all they are. And when at night they look into their mirror, they see you staring back. And that's what I got, guys.
Thank you, Charlene. And from your pieces, something that stuck out to me is words, stories, and songs. But not only that, but humanity. And what makes us human, and what makes us human is our love to read, our love of literature, our love of songs and poems and stories and words. And where can you find all of that but here in Writing for Life, the anthology, the first title from Nervous Ghost Press. Order yours today at www.nervousghostpress.com or at Half Off Books or any of the other venues that we are presenting from during our virtual tour this summer. Our next speaker, our next presenter today is our first of our community readers and guest speakers, and we're excited to have them. We're excited to involve as many people as possible and bring as many people together as we can. Mimi Tempest is a multidisciplinary artist and poet. She considers herself a daughter of California, being born and raised in Los Angeles and currently living in the Bay Area. Her works are aimed at disrupting negative and stereotypical narratives and iconography of Black and queer people in media representations. She's a graduate of Mills College with an MA in literature and is the 2019 winner of the Mary Merritt Henry Prize for a group of poems. Her debut collection of poetry, The Monumental Misrememberings, is forthcoming from Co-Conspirator Press in November, and she looks forward to beginning the critical creative PhD in literature at UC Santa Cruz this fall. Congratulations on your book. Congratulations on furthering your education. Nervous Ghost Press is an advocate for going to school and studying and getting us where we need to be and everything that comes with that. So, Mimi, take it away.
Hi, thank you for having me, Matthew. And I'm so honored to be amongst all you amazing poets. I'm going to read two pieces from my upcoming book, The Monumental Misrememberings. The first piece is titled Name Tag. Name Tag. Allow me a space for contemplation. Allow me a space to figure shit out. Allow me a space to have complex feelings outside the boxes of sadness and anger. I can't breathe like this anymore, not when it was you who put me in this box in the first place. Allow me to love myself. Allow me to erase myself and not the erasure that comes from your hands, no. Allow me to erase my father's version of a woman who is only worthy of a date on the weekends. Allow me to erase my mother's version of a woman whose man goes missing every weekend. Allow me to erase that little girl whose teacher told the entire class to point to and laugh at for expressing an excitement about her identity. No one cares, is what he whispered in my ear after the violent giggles subsided. Allow me to retrace myself and discover an outline of a body whose shapes that doesn't resemble that iconic glass bottle. She says her pussy tastes like Pepsi Cola. Well, my pussy tastes like freedom. My pussy tastes like resilience. My pussy tastes like revenge. My pussy tastes like reparations, 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 reparations. And yes, it pops severely because yours don't. My pussy tastes like sweet juices dripping from the drinking gourd. So allow me to head north and cross that line. Allow me grace and quit touching my goddamn hair. Allow me citizenship, allow me ownership, allow me kinship, allow me, allow me, allow me, allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is. That's my first piece. Thank you. A lot of this work deals with a simple fact. 64,000 Black girls were considered missing in November, as of November 2019. And that simple fact kind of spearheaded this project. And I'm really interested, especially as we are going through these uprisings and going through the Black Lives Matter movement, how Black femme energy, Black trans lives, and Black women and girls are considered within the structure, the hierarchy of this society. And usually you'll find that Black women are like at the bottom of the totem pole. So my debut collection really sifts through that fact, sifts through that reality. This next piece is called On International, the Girls Are Lined Up. A body didn't get the world right, a people did. Right, right. Right on the money that drips maligned between my thighs, right on the street that reveres sanctuary for none, right on the blood I saw hemorrhaged into blue after my mother gave birth to another Black daughter, right on right, directionless on the path, dizzied, designed souls to sell diamonds, demonized by devils, turning tricks until saints, right on wrong, right on what's wrong, right on the breast that conquered along kindred feet in the metropolis Black, girls stripped of their emeralds, dancing, 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 dying, we mean dancing, shuck and jive and shuck and drive and shuck and lie and shuck and cry and shuck and fly and shuck and play and shuck and slave and shuck all night and shuck and stray. Left on the corner of the veins that move varicose to the victory of false satiation. Left on who did we lose today? Left teetering the line of alive and almost always dead. Left lapsed on repeat, missing, gone. Left as in my daddy, we know how the sentence fucking ends. Left as if I ever catch that nigga in the streets, it's gonna be left paying an innocence for the hell they hail worth dollars. Left like the jab that hurled owned on my face. Left in my body the drugs that I developed this itch for. Left in the closet with my eyes staring lucid into the void. She was only 15 and we made a pact that we would make it out together. I made it out with wings branded on my back. Still they make their lefts on death row. The stolen relics are all lined up on sale, mouths, hands, youths, and if the price is right, pussies. Always their souls. The choir of horrors have taken the floor. They're saying, he unzipped himself in front of me and placed the lie that we both know in my mouth. He confessed his demons inside for a fee until his tiny white angels all flew out. On international, no angels flew past me. Angels flew past, know me, angels know me, flew past, flew me, the angels, a people, didn't get the world right. My body, the world didn't get a people, the angels did get my body right. Right. Thank you.
Thank you, Mimi. And thank you for joining us and being part of our community and bridging the gap between so much. You know, one thing I know about our community and the writing community in general is we're strong. We're strong and we're resilient, and we take a beating and we write about it, and we turn our pain into something beautiful and into our art and something that's powerful and heavy. And I know that when I hold this book, I feel it's heavy. I can feel the weight of all of us, of everybody who reads it, who's in it, who works hard and who helps create it. When I listen to all of our work and everybody perform, I feel that same pain. I feel that love, and I'm connected. And I hope that through these virtual tours and through these readings and events, we can all be connected. We can show everybody, we can show the world that we're not going anywhere. And we're here to stay. And I'm here to stay, and I know you're here to stay with me. And I want to show, before I introduce our next speaker, a little bit more information about Half Off Books. And remember that part of what we're doing here is to help support our local stores, our businesses, our bars, cafes, our bookstores. And so you can donate. Their GoFundMe link is up on the screen now. Everything counts, everything matters, no matter how big, no matter how small. And so that's here. If you need a reminder of it, when I remove it from the screen, email us at ghosts@nervousghostpress. I can send you the information. It's also on our website at www.nervousghostpress.com. Our next speaker has taught in school in Toronto, Canada, coming all the way from Canada. So we're international. So remember that, international. Taught in Toronto for 25 years before moving to Scotland. In Canada, she obtained a certificate in creative writing from the Simon Fraser's The Writer Studio and an MFA from the Northwest Institute of Literary Arts. Her memoir, Dressed for Dancing, was one of 10 nominees for the Whistler Independent Book Award. And so it's my absolute pleasure to introduce everybody to Leslie Hill. All right, Leslie.
Thank you, Matthew. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. I'm really honored to be here among these amazing poets. And I'm a change of pace because I don't write poetry, although I love reading it and listening to it. I write nonfiction essays as a way to find perspective and understanding and healing. So this is the first part of an essay that's in the anthology, The Cost of Silence. When I was in my early 40s, an acquaintance hauled me along to a local psychic fair one warm July day. I wasn't interested in psychics, but I couldn't manufacture an excuse quickly enough, so I went. I wandered aimlessly among psychics with tarot cards, crystal balls, horoscope charts, and crystals, before pausing in front of a man without props. I don't recall his age or appearance. He looked at me for a moment or two and then said, "When I look at you, I see a woman without a mouth." Silence. How does that happen? I'd taught school for 20 years. I came of age in the tumultuous 60s as feminism was gathering steam. The birth control pill became available, and before long, so did access to legalized abortion. I was aware that I come from an emotionally repressed family, that I wasn't saying much about the turmoil of recent widowhood, or my struggle to get past grief, rage, and bewilderment and find a reason to live. But a woman without a mouth? I tried to forget that moment with the psychic and failed. The image haunted me. Over time, I realized that I was riddled with fears of loss, of my own feelings, of failure, violence, the spotlight. That the quality I admire most in others is courage. That speaking my truth, standing up to conflict, being visible felt unsafe. I preferred the shadows. 5 decades after that, the status of women, though improved, is far from equal. Women still experience an appalling amount of violence in intimate relations. Abortion rights are under attack, and the morning after pill is hard to obtain. Margaret Atwood's dystopian novel, The Handmaid's Tale, depicting a society in which women are enslaved to bear children, looks more prescient now than it did 35 years ago. I'm nearly 70. What I appreciate about aging is the invisibility. Because most people don't notice or care about older women, I feel as if I have little to lose. But I still cringe when I compare myself to women with the courage to stand up to domestic violence, report rape, or accuse powerful men of sexual assault. I'm in awe of their bravery, choked up and tearful. In these days of populist politics, social media, fake news, abortion restrictions, and the Me Too movement, as well as Black Lives Matter, it feels to me harder than ever to speak out. But even I can see that it's essential. Standing up to bullies, whether in the workplace, in our institutions, in the street, or at home, is the only hope to take back power. Most adult women have experienced bullying in the form of a controlling partner, sexual harassment, or date rape. These experiences are ubiquitous, but so often hidden that statistics aren't dependable. The US Equal Employment Opportunity Commission reports that 70% of victims of workplace harassment never make a formal complaint. The same is believed true of domestic violence and rape. In my 20s, I was engaged for almost a year to a man who sought to control me by manipulation, emotional blackmail, and eventually physical force. I fled and didn't date again for 4 years. In middle age, I was coerced into sex by someone I thought was a friend. My roommate in university was raped by her date. We said nothing. Mostly, we assumed we'd been careless or stupid or unlucky. My main concern was my own safety. After that, hiding my shame. As long as no one knew how stupid or naive I'd been, I could swallow the humiliation I felt and hold my head up. As long as I never had to see the man again, I'd survive. I didn't think about the other women he might victimize. I didn't think about justice. I assumed I wouldn't get any. In a he said, she said situation, what could be proven? I also never stopped to wonder what was happening to me as I returned retreated from any situation that might lead to danger. When my husband died young, I backed away from intimate relationships. Whether they ended in loss or violence, they felt too dangerous. In seeking safety, I stopped living fully. It's taken me a long time to see that. It's not what I want for young women. When did something finally begin to shift in my life? I was 31 when I met the man I would eventually marry. Early in our relationship, I realized that he didn't want a mirror for his own thoughts. He wanted to know what I thought. He saw me as an equal. It was a revelation. Over our 8 years together, I grew into myself because he made that safe. When he died, I felt annihilated. I struggled to survive by the ways my family traditionally coped: hard work and stoic silence. It was that period when I ran into the psychic. I may have had no mouth, but my body started to scream. In the 2 years following my husband's death, I developed a recurring skin rash, debilitating migraine headaches, arthritis, and a bone disease. I didn't understand. I thought the problem was stress or the job. I took a 6-month leave of absence, then a year off, but it wasn't enough. Finally, 7 years after my husband's death, I abandoned my old life, job, family, home, and tried to rebuild a new one in an intentional community in northern Scotland. Speaking honestly was part of the culture there. Slowly, my symptoms diminished, though the headaches and the arthritis remained. Someone eventually suggested I write about my husband. I began. I found my voice. I never looked back. That was the beginning. And the essay goes on from there. Thank you.
Fantastic beginning. And remember, everybody who's watching and those who will view later on YouTube, if you want to find out the end, you know what you need to do. Always www.nervousghostpress.com. I want to share a story, and maybe it's not a story or just a little tidbit here about finding our voices and what represents not only our readers and our writers, but our press almost so perfectly it's not even fair to the universe, that we all have a history of speaking, not speaking, finding a voice, not having a voice, and struggling once we do find one, and struggling to even get one. And something that Chad Michael and I wanted to do when creating this press and creating this anthology and all future projects was to use our voices and find voices and put them together and have that melody and that harmony of everybody speaking as one and working as one, as fighting as one, and being so strong that there's nothing that we can't do, nothing that people can take away from us, and nothing that we can't give. And part of that is very close to myself when I remember my very, very first poetry show, and every subsequent performance after that, I'm still afraid. I still feel like my voice means nothing, but it means something to me, and all of our voices mean something to us. And I told our writers in our meeting before this, I said, who cares? You know, it means something to us. That's good enough for me. And the power in that translates, and it transfers to all of us. And our next speaker may get embarrassed, but this is their first public performance, and their first performance with poetry and stories and art and the literary arts. And I am excited and not jealous, but I'm happy that we're the first place that they're performing, because, you know, neener to everybody else, because we got them. And so a little bit about Lisa is it's their first time reading poems. She uses poetry to express herself and make sense of things in the world. When she's not writing, she can be found humming a tune while studying for her classes and homework and everything else. And I think the fact that Lisa also hums while she's studying and listens to music, it just shows how all art is connected, and all art, it flows through us, through our ears, our eyes, our nose, everywhere else, and out through our skin and our hair and how we express ourselves. So please, everybody watching and everybody in attendance, give a very, very warm welcome to Lisa. Are you muted, Lisa? Oh no, you're muted. Unmute yourself.
There we go.
What's up?
So I have 3 poems for you guys, and I don't have any titles for each poem, but I'll give you some context as I go along. So the first one is about driving through the Cajon. If you've ever gone to Vegas, you have to pass through like a mountain pass, and it's called the Cajon. So here I go. Loneliness is frightening, a complex simplicity that's difficult to describe without a pile of memories in hand. Like a lost soul on autopilot through the Cajon, through zero visibility in the dead of night, unsure of the progress made with no end in sight, except for glowing red eyes, wishing for the silhouette of mountains against the starry skies. So that's the first one. And now the second one is about remembering childhood. Yeah, here I go. When I least expected, memories become more vibrant, when the present feels like an old friend. When the sun sets on a hot summer day, the breeze cools the air ever so slightly. Leftover warmth from the day brings about a distinct scent of suburban concrete from the weather-beaten driveways. I reminisce on summer evenings in front of my home where families have gathered. Crowded on the living room floor, cousins would anxiously wait for a turn to play, and just right outside, languages bounced back and forth over tea between the aunties and uncles, as the tiredness of work disappeared from their voices. Aroma of burnt meat and charcoal would become entangled with the summer breeze dancing through the open windows and doorways, making the curtains pulse and the houseplants sway. And behind all this is a familiar scent of suburban concrete that will warm my heart and mind today. And then the last one is about being in a relationship that I thought was failing. So, he never believes me when I say I'm going to do something. It's the look in his eyes. I see uncertainty, as if I've been lying to him. But I keep saying it anyways. I know that I might not do it, but I need to believe in myself that I can. And I need someone I love to do so too. In my mind, I know that one day I'm going to surprise myself. I'm going to do what I say. That's it.
All right, I hope everybody watching everywhere can join me in an applause here. And thank you and congratulations, and we're happy and we're proud of you that you entered the world of being a performance artist. And that's who you are now, forever, and that will never change. You spoke about memories, and memories are fantastic, and they're horrible, and they're great, and they're beautiful, and they're ugly, and they're frustrating, and every adjective, good and bad, that we can think of. And I hope that today and this evening can be a memory that you always look back on. I know I will. I will, because it's important to me, because it's important to you. And I think that's really cool. And just personally, that's dope. And that I can say it, and I feel it, and I love it, and I believe it. Before I introduce our final performer today, I want to share a little bit of information again about what we're doing, why we're doing it, and who we're doing it for. We're doing this for everybody. We want all of us to have a place where we can come together without the worry of being judged or the worry of being ridiculed or made fun of. We can say how we feel and be received and heard and listened to. We can open up about our fears, our monsters, our demons, our loved ones, our friends, our happinesses, and our sadness. And you can find all of it if you enjoy these performers. There's 13 more events. So keep coming. Listen to everybody. We have coming up, I'll give a little bit more information before I sign off after. We have an international party. Hey, we're worldly over here at Nervous Ghost Press. And so now let me introduce our final performer to close us out. This individual draws inspiration from New Orleans, blues, rock and roll, gypsy horns, and tribal beats. Blues and soul are simmering in his gumbo. A native of Whittier and East LA, California, Buddy is a musician, songwriter, and father. So it's my absolute honor and privilege to present Buddy.
Thank you very much, Matt. I appreciate that. And I am so humbled to be with such great writers. I mean, each one of you just touched me. Some beautiful, beautiful writing from each one of you. And it was all very heartfelt. And I have to laugh because my first piece, which is in the book, is something that Matt chose of mine. And it's not heartfelt. It's just something that was on my mind for the longest time. And it was inspired by a painting that a friend of mine did in college, who he's no longer around, but I kept thinking of this painting he did. And it made me think of the life of a blue rhino. Like, do they have the same issues we have? The simple things in life. So this is the one that Matt chose. I don't know where it is in the book yet. I haven't received my copy yet. But it's called Blue Rhino. Captured and relentless in his thoughts, the male rhino, gloriously blue for reasons unbeknownst to most or some, is caught between a primordial ooze, slung oft and betwixt, thank you, Sonny Boy, a rock and a hard on. He waits for his mate to return from her grass grazing, sunbathing venture to Aristotle's meadow, so that he may presently find out where she placed the fly swatter. See, it doesn't have the same heartfelt passion as everything else. It's not really part of something that happened in my life. I just remember coming home one day and wondering where the fly swatter was. And then when I sat down to write the next morning, and that painting came to my mind, and then the fly swatter came to my mind, I had to think, do rhinos wonder where things are left by their mate, which they mate for life? Just have to think about that. This next piece is a song I wrote a few weeks after Katrina. Just seeing the horrific pictures live, the video of people surviving, wading through water, waiting for help from roofs, and just seeing, a city in America where it gave more, it has possibly given more in art to this country, art forms that are concreted, they're solid and set in American culture. And to see that those in charge just sat back and watched, didn't do anything for America. And I think this is so profound now because the same thing is happening again. So this is a song I wrote for that time, but I think it's present today too. Water will flow, the river will bend, minute by minute, dirt into sand. dust in the air. The river will give all it can bear. Rust, rot, and iron, stripped to the bone. Life on an angle, the hymn and the moan. Breath in the air, where trees used to stand for hundreds of tears, ripped out of our land. Sun rises up for a moment of light, but the bridge over river is gone out of sight. Down from the mountain came the powers that be. They watched and did nothing in the land of the free. The message is clear. The damage is done. Our hearts have been broken, and no one has won. Water will flow. Water will flow. Water will flow. Dirt into sand. Thank you.
All right. I think, Buddy said that his poem wasn't heartfelt, but you know what? I felt it in my heart. And that's good enough for me. And I think that's good enough for many of us, and especially your song and your music. I think we all felt that. I was moving my head over here and I was closing my eyes and listening and listening. Something about your song and your words and what everyone has spoken about today, a word in my brain was resilience, and how resilient we are. And that, yes, buddy, the water does flow, and we flow, and we will always flow. And, I thought of a question, and I'll open this up to the Q&A, the Q&A portion of today's evening. I have one, and, I'll answer it first just because I think that would be okay with everybody. And it's, what is poetry, and what is art, and what is literature and stories? And we get these questions asked to us all the time. And if I had an answer to it, it would be this. This is it. What we're all doing and what we do every day. And so I'm going to open up everybody. You can jump in at any moment. It may be a little bit hectic, but that's what this is all about. So go ahead. Anybody. And I put all their faces up too. So now if you're trying to hide away, and we can see you.
Well, I
The
think
question, okay.
for all of us, I mean, everybody's going to have their major answer, but I think the broad answer is we write because we have to. Just it's part of our daily bread. I mean, that's just my thought on writing. To get up and just start writing, it needs to keep going. It's like art. It's the same with art. The need to be creative, the need to create art for me through music and songwriting. It's what I do daily.
Totally.
I'm sure it's the same for everybody else here with writing. Anyone?
I just saw a question, but first I wanted to share a bit. When I was in school, one of my professors, when the world catches on fire and when things go crazy, he told us, we were in class, he said, as writers, this is our moment, and this is when we create, and we need our art to. This is how we push the envelope, how we go forward, how we progress through change into something better and greater. And I think that that's evident in the work that we're doing and the work that we've done and the work that we will do. And I do have a question. There's a few, but I'll read the first one. Is to everybody, and maybe Lisa, you can jump in here because it was your first one and I'm calling you out, but I stand by it. Is how do you know? How do you all know? How does anybody know when your work is ready to share?
Oh boy.
It never is.
Yeah. Like the poems that I've written took me, one of them took me probably a year to figure out whether or not I liked it. And then the other ones, like I would write them, wait a couple months to figure out if I like them. And then sometimes I hate them afterwards and sometimes I like them. The ones that I hate, I like.
Totally.
Totally. Yeah. So it takes a while, I think. It takes a while to like be here and like, present my poems. I think it took me a couple years to decide to come up here. Yeah.
And you did great.
Thanks.
Good.
I think that there's always some room for change. I know that I do a lot of revision with my work. I'll start to send something out, to submit something, and I'll look at it and go, wait a second, that word or that phrase, maybe that should be moved. Maybe that should be put. So as far as does it ever get finished? Probably. Probably. There's, I guess for me, when I can say to myself, okay, wow, I really like that, then it probably is finished. When I can, relate it in a positive way. I know, because we know when it's not working.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's quite clear for me anyhow, when something is not working. I have poems, that I'll look at and go, oh my God, really? But when something is working, I guess there's a point. I know for me, when I finish something and I feel comfortable with it, I usually say, yeah, thank you. I like that. Thank you. And with most of the arts, I think that happens. My original degree was in visual arts, and man, you can screw up a painting really easy. It can get really muddy if you keep doing too much to it. And I suppose that's true for writing as well. But I do a lot of revisions in spite of that. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, I totally understand about, revising to the grave. And I'm sure everybody has done the same thing where you're writing something and you think it's ready, you read it again. This sucks. Throw it away, start over. And, another question, and I want to pose this question to everybody, and maybe Mimi and Lisa, because you're the community members here who are joining us, and hopefully you had a good time. And And, I know I did. And, a question was, how did you not just decide if you were ready, but how did you decide that, hey, now's the time? Because, sometimes I feel like there are moments in my life where I'm ready and I'm ready and I'm ready. And a moment comes and it passes. And then another one comes and it passes. But then, so maybe it was your first event, maybe it was today, but when you woke up and you said, I'm gonna.
Like, now's the time to read your work out loud or to publish?
Everything. Just now's the time.
Now's
in general, yeah. Now's the time to wake up.
I mean, technically all we have is now, right? So it's a matter of, if you're choosing the life of an artist, in any field, in any genre, but I have this saying, it's like you either shit or you get off the pot, if you're going to choose to do this, you have to do it, you have to do it right. And that's just always been my approach to doing work. And for anyone who's starting out, I would say fail and fail fast. And it's usually in the failure and the experimentation that you create your own vibe, you create your own staple, sound, writing, your own genre of work. So fail fast, and all you have is now. You die tomorrow, but hey, you're here.
Yeah, I failed a lot. A lot.
Congratulations.
Thanks. Yeah. Because before, reading my poems, I would sing on stage for like club events just for funs. And I failed dramatically. So, but in terms of like knowing when, like when Matt asked me, he like sent me something and he was like, do you want to do it? I was like, okay, I'll just do a poem, because like I've been trying to, put myself out there. So, and then here I am. So, yeah.
Lisa.
Huh?
I think you did wonderful.
Thank you. I agree. It was super good.
Absolutely.
All right. Anybody else want to share before I show a couple more informative things?
Yeah, I will.
All right, Leslie.
When my husband was dying, my sister-in-law told me that what had gotten her through her first husband's death was writing. And this was a woman who I never saw read anything or write anything more than a shopping list. So I thought, I've been thinking of her as really not very literate, but she wrote every night after her husband died for months. And she said that's what helped her survive. I haven't seen her write since, and I didn't know her in those days, of course, but I thought, if that's something to listen to. And that's when I started writing seriously, and I just kept going. And for me, I'm in a couple of writing groups, and I pass my stuff by them, short pieces usually. It doesn't work for long things. And they're really good at pointing out what they understand, what they appreciate, and what's left them confused, or where I'm kind of shooting off and riding off in all directions at once. So I do a lot of revision based on what they say, and they're very trustworthy and they're very good. So I think having a writing group is a wonderful support.
Definitely. And that's, that sense of community, I'm going to say it over and over and over. I don't care how much you get tired of hearing it, but that sense of community is what pushes us, and we all need it, whether that's our community here, far away, professional, or otherwise. And to remind everybody, our next event is next Tuesday, July 14th at Gatsby Books in Long Beach. Go Beach. I know there's some Cal State LA fans out there. For new readers, new stories, and always stay up to date on our website. And I will show you those here. 1 second. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, Nervous Ghost Live. That's where this is being live streamed. Of course, the website, www.nervousghostpress.com. And as a final reminder, Half Off Books. They are our local bookstore. great place to read, to meet new people who are also interested in literature, the arts, open mic events, and all others. Their GoFundMe is listed here on your screen right now. And you can always email us for more information if you ever need it. As a final thank you to everybody, always, it was fantastic. It was great. I'm so happy. I'm proud every single day, every single time I look at the book, I read your work, I hear your voices, and I see your faces. And so thank you again. I hope that we can continue this far beyond the summer in person when it's safe and it's comfortable to go out, and we can bring everybody together again. We also have on July 26th, just before I need to get this in there, July 26th at 12 o'clock in the afternoon is our international event for those of our readers who are our writers or readers in the anthology in Australia, Paris, England, and all across the world. We want you to join us too. We want to celebrate with everybody, whenever and however. And so again, everybody, thank you. Thank you for those who are viewing. Thank you
Thanks so
for
much.
performing.
Thank
And
you.
I'll see you next Tuesday.
It was
Thank you,
wonderful.
guys.
Thank you.
Love. Thank you.
Bye-bye.